So hello, thank you very much, and welcome to this demo webinar for Retail Pro 9. My name is James McGibbon. I'll be your presenter today. Uh, hope everyone's having a nice day, and it's a nice morning. Uh, for some of you more towards the East Coast and overseas, it's a little bit later. For here in California, it's a little bit earlier. But anyway, happy to be here today. Again, my name is James McGibbon. I'm a training specialist here at Retail Pro, and sometimes I get to do these webinars and talk about Retail Pro 9 and talk about Prism. So that's fun. I get to field some questions from all y'all, and hopefully by the end of the day, it'll be nice and informative. If you know nothing about Retail Pro 9, then this is a great high-level introduction. We'll cover a lot of kind of the high-level features for it, and I like to spend a little bit of time and talk about a few of the extra features that are more subtle that you may not know of or think about right off the bat. And hopefully by the end it'll be clear to you why Retail Pro 9 is such a compelling solution for specialty retailers all over the world. I have a quick technical reminder before I get started proper. If you're joining the conference call using a telephone, you were asked to enter an audio pin, which was unique to you upon connection. If you didn't do that, it's not too late right now. You can still do that. At any time, you can just type in the pound sign and put in the unique pin, and then hit the pound sign again, and that'll get you hooked up. You should be able to see your pin on the control panel somewhere. If you enter the audio pin, it'll allow you to ask questions at the end of the webinar by voice. Otherwise, you'll be forced to type in your question using the questions chat window. If you join over the conference via voice over IP, then you should be fine. No audio pin is needed, and that's mainly, like I said, just for the question and answer part of the webinar. You can raise your hand and I'll unmute you and you can ask your question. Although honestly, most people seem to like to type in their questions anyway. But anyway, just a technical reminder, just in case, like I said, you joined over the telephone. But make sure you have a microphone in order to ask questions. And beyond all that, we'll go ahead and get started. I have a really short introduction, just talking about us as a company, and then we'll get on with the demo. So yeah, before getting on with the demo, like I said, I'll tell you a little bit more about us. Just as a company, Retail Pro has been around for over 25 years now. So we're a pretty long-standing company developing the product for that time period. We have customers in 86 different countries, which equals right now to around 52,000 retail stores, which are using Retail Pro, and they're doing that in 18 different languages. So with 90 business partners located all over around the world and supporting them in the local language with local expertise on products and the retail environment and laws, it's just one of the things that makes us just such a unique product, and we're proud and happy to have such a global impact on people and to work. It makes for an interesting company, and at the same time, if any of you are not Retail Pro users currently, it's proven to me as an employee here the stability of us as a company and the stability as a product. Part also is what this what I think this demonstrates is what makes Retail Pro compelling for specialty readers is extremely robust and very, very flexible. It's a total retail management solution. We integrate all retailing functions for point of sale, customer management, store operations, back office, reporting and analytics. Probably one of the most feature-rich solutions in the market. I say probably because I haven't haven't seen every single product, but certainly from the products I have seen, it's one of the things, again, which makes me proud to work for this company, because when I experience other products, that's when I finally learn what an amazing product we have. More importantly, though, with that flexibility, Retail Pro allows you to adapt the system so it better fits how you run your business, and it's always scaled extremely well. This has allowed Retail Pro to be used in both single store retailers as well as multinational retailers with hundreds of stores worldwide. It's the same solution powering the store in New York as well as a store in Shanghai, Dubai, and or London. Always the same solution. And Retail Pro supports virtually any business model owner-operated brick-and-mortar stores, like I mentioned earlier, as well as corporate-owned chains, franchise businesses, store-in-store locations, outlet stores, and any combination. We have Retail Pro being used in all of those types of business models, and it's always worked out just to be an amazing solution. Retail Pro has a highly intuitive and agile user interface. Each and every screen can be customized, so it's easy to use. It can be more attractive and tailored to your specific workflow. Yeah, custom visibility has always been one of my favorite things about Retail Pro because, like I said, you can not just tailor it to your workflow, but tailor it to represent your store branding as well. It's really wonderful. So it is nothing, I think, very cooler when you go into a store and when you look at their POS, you see a POS system that reflects their business, not just something that's generic. Retail Pro was also built with extensibility in mind. Out of the box, Retail Pro is a powerful and robust solution that can meet the entities of different retailers just out of the box for a single store. But that said, Retail Pro can't possibly incorporate every feature and function and workflow that every retailer would ever want. Retail Pro makes available a robust API solution that allows it to be extended as needed through the use of custom plugins. We've had plugins created in-house, but also we have business partners who take it upon themselves to create plugins for Retail Pro specifically for any of their clients in a custom programming fashion. Customers themselves, some of the larger customers have of course hired their own programming staff as well and simply made their own. Does it just make it more precisely for retailers to meet an exact workflow? Some of these are to comply with regional tax regulations and requirements for support for fiscal printers, for example. Other plugins are set up to interface with other systems such as accounting, merchandising, customer relationship management, ERP, and business analytics systems. And sometimes just simply to add custom features. I'm going to go ahead and go forward with the product demo right now then, and what I'm going to do is just kind of go through a whole product life cycle. And that way you can see from inventory to management to sales how Retail Pro can be used to help you run your business. What I have here is just the main screen of Retail Pro, and this is what Retail Pro sort of looks like just straight out of the box. Certainly you can leave it like this. We think we have a pretty nice logo. But yeah, this is what I was talking about when I mentioned earlier the customability. This particular screen right here in the middle of just this home screen is extremely flexible. You can actually put anything that you want here. This is just a JPEG of our company logo here. But if you want, it can immediately be set up to be a web page, and as a matter of fact, this particular link is set up as a web page. But if you need to put a Word doc, if you have a business which has daily information, you can put a Word doc or PDF right there. If you have an internal company intranet, you can set this to that. Virtually it's very flexible. We sometimes have trouble finding something that we can't put there. But if you want an example, we can see immediately go to a browser, and this will take you to retailpro.com, our main web page. Here's part of our marketing team right here. We have a global conference coming up in Barcelona in October, so there's information there on that. But this, like I said, this is just mainly an example of what you can do with this home screen. And the same thing with these toolbars up at the top and on the side. Certainly we can customize those to show anything you want. For example, up here at the top, you might see me circling, link to the purchasing module, which we'll look at it a little bit later, or employee management. You may not need these tools at the point of sale station, so we can take those off. Like I said, this is just Retail Pro out of the box, and it can certainly easily be customized for whatever your needs are. Let's go ahead and start off with inventory management. At this time, Retail Pro supports an unlimited number of inventory items. And this is just a simple data set right here, which you see is an inventory data table. Each of these rows is a separate unique inventory item. You can enter each of these items into the system manually or have them imported in. We have tools for that. And as for each inventory item, you have close to 100 different data fields to define that item. And but even if that isn't enough, you can create your own custom fields using UDF and aux fields. Let me go ahead and go to, this is sort of a list or table view for items. We have a toggle between that and a form view for specific items as well. And like I said, you're straight out of the box. This is what it looks like here to start out with. And this is what I'm saying right here is even if the fields that we have aren't enough, you can always define your own. There's an unlimited number of these UDF fields as well, so you can continue to add whatever you need. For each particular inventory item, you can also define an unlimited number of prices for each inventory item. And again, this is some sample data where we're tracking prices, just simple prices set for retail, employee, VIP, and manufacturer suggested retail prices for these items. These are some expensive sandals. This allows you to establish store-based pricing, or you can give special pricing to special customers or even employees. So like for special customers, if you have, you say customers who are tax-exempt customers, you can set up a specific price level here and set them up for tax-exempt. Retail Pro also comes with built-in statistics. Let's go ahead and try and set up a date range. Let's see if we can find something for this item. We can quickly see item statistics on the fly, key performance indicators, as well as for all inventory items. So you can quickly see for any particular item your turn by quantity, turn by cost. All available on the fly. All these statistics can be exported using the reporting module as well. And we'll take a look at the reporting module a little bit later. But yeah, you have access to statistics turn by cost, turn by quantity, gross margin return on investment, stock to sales ratio, days of supply, and even end of period quantity, which gives you the quantity for each inventory item on a given date, which is something that I think one of the wonderful things and something that I haven't touched on yet is Retail Pro 9 uses an Oracle database solution. In previous versions of Retail Pro, over 10 or 15 years ago, used a flat file system where these kinds of statistics just weren't available on the fly, and especially things like end of period quantity. It's just too difficult to calculate. It was possible, of course, but it was time consuming and certainly not instantaneous like this. And it's just one of the wonderful things of having an Oracle database as our solution. Like I said, you can view these statistics through reports or on screen, and these used metrics can help you determine if you have the right inventory at the right place at the right time. Also available, just on the fly, is item history, and you can just pull this up just from the click of the button on right there. Let's see if we've got some history for this item. And I'm not sure if we do or not. Let's see, yeah, these are already set for store one. Anyway, for each inventory item, you have access to its full historical trail. So it'll allow you to see exactly what happened to that item, when it was received, transferred, sold, manually adjusted, just like a bank account's credit and debits list. Anytime that this item will be listed on a history document of some kind that's tracking quantities, you can see it on this chart. So one of the wonderful things about item history like this and being able to look it up really quick is it helps assure you that the numbers presented to you in Retail Pro, mostly quantity and cost values are correct. It comes a time you've invested into a system, so you should have be assured that it's giving you your data correctly. And sometimes you just look at a number or the number of items you have in inventory, and it just doesn't appear to be correct. Maybe you'll look at something and it'll say you're supposed to have over 1,000 of them, which maybe you're not supposed to. Using item history, you can quickly see the history and find out when that happened. So, in item history, for example, you might find a receiving document in which a 100 of an item was received and an extra 0 got added. Item history will help you target where those discrepancies might be. Or at the same time, you might look at a number and see, maybe that's not quite right. And but then after looking at the numbers, you see, oh, it is right. Yeah, I remember when we did sell that person, that particular quantity, or we did actually bring in that particular quantity. So, item history is a lot of fun. It's just something that you can pull up, but like I said, give you the assurance that you need to know that the data you're receiving, or the data that you're seeing on the screen is absolutely correct. Let's go ahead and go back to the previous screen. Go ahead and look at the item. Let's go back to the list view. Retail Pro, you're not restricted to working at just the item level on particular things. We also have just automatic settings for styles. And any of these items, here's a particular short sleeve shirt style. So if you have like items, which are, let me see if I can find a more larger style. Here's several different suitcase trolleys. If you're working with the same item, which is only differentiated between sizes and an attribute such as color, then Retail Pro can automatically lump those together into a style. And if you're entering items, that makes it really, really nice and easy too, because you can just insert the basic item information and then define all your items by sizes and attributes. Retail Pro, when you define items that way, Retail Pro will automatically create individual items for every size and color combination. And as you can see in Retail Pro, we have several other tools on the side over here, settings for price management, Autominmax, performing physical inventories. You can print tags directly from the inventory module. There's certainly a lot more features that I'm not showing you today, but at the same time, I only have an hour. And there's lots more that I want to share with you before we're done with that. But just real quick, items such as Price Manager quickly allow you to define prices using tools like Autominmax, and I'll talk about Autominmax later actually, because we have a number of different auto utilities to help you manage your inventory properly. But Autominmax will allow you to define minimum and max numbers for inventory items. Physical inventory, you can use Retail Pro to perform a physical inventory in your store right away. Moving on though, let's go ahead and talk about purchasing now. And again, I'll actually go real quick, go back to this merchandise. Sorry. You can see there's also several different other tools besides inventory helping you to define departments, vendors. You can perform inventory adjustments from this module. Clean House, which takes care of any items that you might not be using. You can perform audits. The same thing, all of these different areas up here have several different tools attached to them. And unfortunately, I can only talk about a little bit at a time. But anyway, let's talk about purchasing. Real quick, here's a few selected purchase orders right here. This will list, when you enter the purchasing module, is a listing of all your existing purchase orders for any given date range, so you can review and report against them. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what that looks like, and just make a quick purchase order from scratch. It's easy enough by selecting New. And of course, if you have an existing ERP system to manage your purchase orders, you can import them into Retail Pro as well. So let's go ahead and order an item. You can enter the items by scanning them or entering them by hand, or you can always use the Choose Edit Items tool to run over to the inventory module, and you can select an inventory, enter item quantities from here. We'll go ahead and we're going to order some cargo shorts. Actually, instead of those numbers, let's go ahead and do like 100 of those. You can see went ahead and left the other items on there, but with a zero quantity, the ones that I zeroed out. We've gone ahead and ordered a 100 of these shorts. And actually that's a little bit easier because we can easily see the PO cost, or the purchasing cost of the item that we have defined for it, is $11. So the extended cost we can see immediately is $1,100, which we see so far on our PO total. Right now, as it is we set this setup as a drop ship PO. You can always set this for Mark IV POs as well. Drop ship is if you want it just dropped to a specific location. In this case, we're going to go ahead and set that to store number 1, which is our Seattle store. You can see from that list. You can certainly very easily set your POs to drop ship to several of the different stores if you want to allocate each of those items. That's easy enough using an item allocation button, which we have here on the side. And right now we can see we still have the order quantity for 100 there. Let's go ahead and set 0 for our San Francisco store. We're going to set 25 to Seattle, 25 to Chicago, 25 to New York, and 25 to Atlanta. So if you're working with several locations, you can easily set this up to drop ship to all of your locations from a centralized management area. And with that, we really simply just made a multi-store dropship PO. PO ordering items will be shipped to multiple store locations. We can also set it up to a Mark IV PO as well. If you want, if you're working, say, for example, with a warehouse, setting up with a Mark IV PO will then just go ahead and mark those allocations for specific stores. So like I said, if they're going to a warehouse, then you automatically know where they're going to be sent to, which is helpful if you have your own internal transfer system in place. Now for a larger order, because you're not always just going to be sending in ordering 100 pairs of cargo shorts at a time, probably. We do have an option to set up allocation patterns, which are predefined distribution plans to apply as needed. Let's go ahead and look and see. We have an allocation pattern already here, a sample one, monthly order. It's kind of a generic name. But in this particular case, we have it set to the same stores that we were looking at before, where store number 1, store number 2, store number 3, store number 4. The allocation patterns work in ratios. So in this particular case, our store number 1, our Seattle store, is a much larger store than the other 4 in this pattern. So we always make sure we always want to have twice as much of whatever we order go to that particular store versus the other 3 stores. Maybe this is your normal monthly replenishment order or something like that. You can always go ahead and apply the pattern. And when you apply a pattern to a PO, the pattern is applied to all items across the PO, which again, by the way, you can support up to 8,000 items on a PO. Retail Pro will automatically do this allocation for you, saving you all the time. You don't have to worry about what you're going to send to each store, only how much of a particular item you're going to buy. We should go ahead and take a look at the item allocation now. And we can see our allocation did automatically change for that particular item. Initially we had it defined for 25 each, and it's come out to the correct ratio. So we have twice as much, 40, going to the Seattle store as the other 3 stores, which are only getting 20 each of that item. So at this point, we're done ordering cargo shorts. We're going to go ahead and click Save, and we're done. If you go ahead and go back to List View, there's our new PO that we just created. And we can see the Ship To store, when we originally started the document, was set to, I set it to 001. The Ship To store is now represented as SEL, which is just short for selection. because there's a selection of stores that are being shipped to. Some of the other options real quick before I leave the purchase order module. Retail Pro also works great with advanced shipping notices. So you can always generate an advanced shipping notice to send to any of these stores. And ASNs are really, really great too, because your receiving stores can automatically generate receiving vouchers from them, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, receiving. The receiving module, pretty similar to, and a lot of these Retail Pro document and screens look very similar. But again, they don't have to. If however you want to customize them, you can do that yourself. That's straight out of the box Retail Pro that we're looking at. But this particular screen would show a listing of all your existing receiving vouchers, which tracks the receiving of merchandise. The vouchers for a given date range, so you can review or report against them. And let's see, for our demonstration, let's say the merchandise we just ordered has been received. So now we need to let Retail Pro know that this has happened. So to do this, we'll just go ahead and create a new voucher. We'll go ahead and set it for store number 1. But you can change it as needed. And certainly each store can only do receiving for their own. But we're going to do the receiving for store number 1, which is the Seattle store. You can always reference the PO, either just by typing in manually, or you can select it. So that way you've got proper tracking between documents, the purchasing documents and the receiving documents. You could also just enter the number as well. I didn't need to select it, but I wasn't sure what the number was. So at this point, you can just start receiving your items however your business model is. So if you want to just start entering scanning items that are being received, Retail Pro will cross-reference those against the PO and update the PO status accordingly. That way you'll know what you have and haven't received. Or alternatively, for larger shipments, you just may want to bring over all the items on the PO and just assume you've received everything. Like I said, it depends on how your module is. If you were going to start scanning items, though, they would simply start listing here, and again, they would reference all the items that were ordered on that PO. But like I said, you can always go to PO items since we have a reference PO entered. And at that point, we can always just enter receive due and click OK. Now, if you noticed when I went on that previous screen for PO items, it listed a quantity of 100 because there were, in fact, 100 items listed on that PO. But you'll notice here, because we're only receiving for store number 1, we did only get the 40 items that we ordered. Any other information that you want to track, such as miscellaneous costs, if you want to track the freight costs, for example, any discounts over here, you can track these on the receiving voucher as well. And also, if you want, Retail Pro also allows you to spread those costs too. So, we have a voucher cost right here. If you, say, are tracking freight costs on your vouchers, but you're not tracking them specifically, you want them included in the voucher cost of the item, you can do that just by spreading the costs across. When you're all set and you're done receiving, all you need to do is simply update the voucher. That will save the document, and it'll update inventory accordingly. So that's it. For store number 1, if we go back and check inventory, we'll have our extra 40 items listed there. One of the options here on the side is generate TO. I mentioned earlier, if you were using marked for POs. Maybe you are shipping to a central location, a central warehouse, from which you are then going to ship items and transfer them to other stores. You can always generate a transfer order directly from the receiving voucher. But speaking about transfers, we're going to go ahead and move on to transfers now. And again, there's a few other tools here for transferring, so it's separate from purchasing. Since we're not working with vendors and purchase orders and receiving, we've got transfer orders and transfer slips for transferring items in between stores. It's pretty straightforward, transferring merchandise from store to store or from a warehouse to a selling store. That's just two ways to transfer in Retail Pro. Like I said, store to store or from a warehouse. With the default method, a store would create a transfer slip. That removes transferred items from the store. Retail Pro will automatically create a receiving voucher, which adds transferred items to the target store. It's a really quick and simple process. And for retailers transferring merchandise between stores that are locally near one another. That way the transfers, the quantities are very, very seamless. And also it's important to consider is if you don't ever have any issues relating to theft during transfers. Just creating a transfer slip at one store and having it automatically update at the target store. Like I said, that's really, really fast and easy if the stores are local and you just have an employee maybe driving items, put it in a van and drive items over on the same day. And yeah, if you don't have any issues relating to theft, then that's another good way of doing it. Other transfer methods require that the source store create a transfer slip, which will remove transferred items from the store, and the target store would then create its own receiving voucher to add those transferred items to the target store. And that way the target store has the opportunity to verify that they actually got what it was that they were supposed to get. That particular process is a little more involved, but it's great for retailers who want both sides to verify exactly what was transferred and received. So for our demo, we're going to go ahead and say we need to transfer our items from store 1 to store 2. So in this particular case, the source store would need to create a transfer slip. Very simple. We go ahead, our from store code is store number 1. We're going to transfer those items to store number 2. Let's go ahead and go to choose added items. I've forgotten what our cargo shorts were. I think that was it right there. And you don't always have to go to choose added items like I just did. You can always just scan the items in. So for example, if you're in a back room and you've moved some items there, you can simply open a document, and if you're transferring 10 pairs of cargo shorts, you can just scan them with a scanner and pop them in right there and insert a quantity of 10. At this particular point, you can also add any other extra information, notes. Again, if you want to if you're tracking freight on transfers as well, you can. Or if you need to add any comments between store managers or something like that, perhaps a reason why the transfer is occurring. But anyway, yeah, for transferring items, it's really quite that easy. List the items and click Update. By clicking Update, again, we're just using the default method. Updating will remove the items or the 10 items from the source store's inventory, auto-generate a voucher, which will add the item to the target store's inventory. And again, that's like I said, that's just the default way of handling transfers. If we look real quick, see here's our receiving voucher at store number 2 for a quantity of 10. Also, we've got our total cost listed there as well, our $110. And again, of course, you can always set up Retail Pro to force the target store to manually create its own receiving voucher. in which case this document would not have been automatically created until the receiving store went ahead and created it. So the 10 cargo shorts that arrive at the receiving store, they create a new document, scan those items in, and that provides for an extra. It's a little more time consuming, but again, it also provides for an extra amount of insurance to verify that the items have left the store, and allows you to track if there's any discrepancies. Let's go ahead and take a quick moment, and we're going to go ahead and talk about, I mentioned these earlier, different auto utilities. Let's go ahead and take this. These are ways how Retail Pro will help you replenish merchandise based on sales history. So instead of walking around your store and thinking about what you need and looking at the shelves, Retail Pro will take care of that for you, and it'll do it in such a way based on your sales instead of just a general idea that you have. Retail Pro can suggest the ordering of merchandise when it falls below a certain quantity, or help you transfer merchandise from a given store or warehouse to other stores to get them back to their optimal levels. So first off, Retail Pro can help you determine the best minimum and maximum quantity levels for each inventory item based on things like sales history and vendor lead time. And that's Autominmax. So for example, let's say an item is historically selling 2 units per day on average, and it normally takes 5 days on average to get a new shipment from a supplier after an order is placed. This tool would then probably recommend that you set the minimum quantity level for this item at 10. Again, you normally sell 2 per day, and it normally takes 5 days. So you should always have 10 on the shelf, because you're going to sell those 10 between the time it's ordered and the time you would actually receive those particular items. This tells you that when you get close to or drop to below 10, it's time to place another order, or you're going to risk running out of stock. For a maximum quantity level, you can base that on a number of days worth of supply you want to carry. For example, if you typically place an order every month, you can make the max level quantity be 31 days worth of supply. So for that particular item, this tool would probably recommend that you set the maximum quantity level at 62. This is a simple but pretty common example. You can certainly get more complex than that. But like I said, pretty common if you're doing monthly orders or something like that. If you're doing weekly orders, of course, it's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to need 62 for the 31 days of supply. You would only need 14. But like I said, you can certainly get more complex if you have different suppliers with different lead times. You may want to take into account limited space, so you're not able to order more that you can display, even if you have very popular items. You want to take into account minimum quantity levels that display well, maybe, even if sales history doesn't support you carrying that amount of supply. This can all be factored in. And then once you have a minimum and maximum quantity levels established, you can use that information to use to replenish using a purchase order, or transfer your merchandise using a transfer order, and then transfer slips and vouchers. Extending beyond Autominmax, we also have a couple of other tools that go along with it. One of those particular tools is AutoPO. AutoPO can be used to automatically suggest the creation of purchase orders for items that fall below your minimum quantity threshold. So, previously, talked about having a minimum quantity of 10. If you have an item that's currently sitting at quantity of 5, the AutoPO tool will suggest that you order 5 more to bring you to that minimum quantity level. You can always have the tool order or specify that it orders enough to get you back up to your minimum quantity levels or your maximum quantity levels, or some point between the two. You always have the chance to agree or disagree with recommendations. You always have a chance to review that before those changes will take place. So before you have those POs automatically generated. But again, like I said, once running through this, it'll automatically generate those documents for you. So you don't even have to worry about that process. Paired with auto POs, we also have an auto transfer tool. And very similar to auto POs. Like the auto PO tool, the auto transfers tool will be used to automatically suggest the creation of transfer slips for items that fall below the minimum quantity level at selling stores. So a warehouse, for example, can transfer exactly what the stores need, so the stores are not overstocked or understocked. And like with the POs, if you agree with those recommendations, you can have the transfer slips automatically generated for you. Okay, beyond that, let's go ahead and take a look at sales. And this is what the receipt cashier would use to handle sales transactions and customer lookup and entry. And again, this is right out of the box. If I had sales to show you, there would be a listing of sales receipts here. You can go ahead and look at the form view. And again, this can be customized to whatever you need for your workflow. So you may not need all this information on for your cashier. You may have certain minimum amount of information they need. It's up to you. This particular whole screen is set up, like I said, the gray is pretty drab, but you can always do something, set a new background. I'm just going to pick something generic really quick. You have something like that, or set up your store logo. This particular size of this particular graphic is a little bit smaller than the screen. You can tile it. But if you have a larger graphic for a store logo, for example, or a company logo, you can put that along the back. The colors for all the buttons are also available, and you can transfer those. And you can do this on any screen, not just your receipt screen. So, for your POs and transfers or something like that, again, all customizable so that you only have the information you need. Receipts module is always simple and easy to use. Let's say a customer wants to purchase the item we've been working with. I really should have written the UPC code for that item down so I could just type it in and you could see. Not always going to choose edit items. Let me go back really real quick. I'll double check. Cargo shorts, 10023. So let's cancel and get back there. And I listed that on the document just by typing it in really quick. But again, if you have scanners, that's of course not an issue. Anyway, this particular customer bought a pair of cargo shorts at a total price of $15.86. Tendering the sale takes us quickly to the tender screen. The customer wants to pay back in cash. And we're going to return in cash as well for the change. We're then ready to update. There's a print update button right here, but we're not going to actually print anything. We're just going to update. But again, if you have receipt printers or something like that, Retail Pro will automatically print your customized documents, customized receipts to the receipt printer. Here, Retail Pro is suggesting the change. And we're done. We've updated the transaction, printed out a physical receipt, given change to the customer, and we're ready to go on to the next one, the next transaction. So let's go ahead and do another transaction. This time, let's say you're tracking customers as well. You can list a customer at any time, at the beginning, before making the purchase, or afterwards. You can look up a customer using a name, phone number, store card, pretty much anything. We'll go ahead have Leonardo da Vinci on this particular sales transaction. He gets around, and that's why he needs cargo shorts. As usual, just simply list all the items being purchased. This time we'll just take $5 in cash, and we'll do the rest using a credit card. Now, out of the box, Retail Pro is just having us select the credit card type. If you have an external system that's handling your credit card transactions, like a Verifone machine or something like that, then maybe you're tracking your credit cards that way. Then in that particular case, Retail Pro will go ahead and just take track what information you need. You might want to just track that it's a Visa. We're not tracking card numbers or anything like that. But certainly you would do that. And of course, Retail Pro corresponds to laws, so we're not actually doing things like listing numbers or something like that. Retail Pro, of course, said all existing credit card laws for credit security and things like that. If you want to have Retail Pro handle that internally, it can do that as well. So again, it's up to you, depending on how you want to work with how your business model is, how your business model works. Once the credit card authorization is approved, we can go ahead and update the transaction. This will, like with the other documents, remove the items purchased from inventory and print out a physical receipt to the customer. If you're printing and updating, we're just going to update only. Which, by the way, all these buttons and terms right here, I talk about everything being customizable. All of these terms being used as well, so things like print, update, we can change those as well, which again, because of course Retail Pro is being used in 18 different languages, so of course everything is customizable in that respect as well. So that's it. It's quick and simple. It's really easy for a cashier to learn how to use Retail Pro to handle sales transactions, making training really easy as well. Go ahead and take a look real quick how Retail Pro manages customers. So for customer management, we saw a screen that looked like this earlier when we were looking on the sales screen. For each customer record, you have a large number of data fields that can be used to capture information about the customer. But if needed, again, like with items, you have the option to create your own data fields using UDF and auxiliary fields here. You have access to an unlimited number of UDF fields. You can always view purchasing history to see what's been purchased and returned by that customer. And in this section, you can also manage special taxing and pricing requirements, track store credit, charge account balances that are linked to external accounting systems. You could define a default discount percentage to be applied automatically to future purchases by that customer. And Retail Pro also even gives you built-in customer statistics, such as a total sales amount, number of visits, average purchasing amount, and more. This allows you to better understand your customers so you can provide a better customer experience and service to make relevant recommendations to those particular customers. Retail Pro also has X-out functions to allow you to see throughout the day how you're doing overall. If you've worked with like a traditional sales register and cash register, you know what X-outs are. Just automatically do it. You can do these on the fly, so you can always do during the day have a cashier run an X-out for you if you have the module available at the cashier level, or if you have them in a back room, you can always just run an X-out there. You can quickly see total sales figures, returns, discounts, what the cash flow situation is during that day. It's all in a single simple report that you can run as often as necessary. Retail Pro also has Z-out functions to help you reconcile your cash drawers. This particular tool allows you to open and close your registers throughout the day so you can track the amounts that are included. You can track float amounts that you want in the drawers in the morning, and also enter the total cash amount counted, including that float amount. You can define how much you want to leave for float in the next shift, and then verify non-cash media found in the drawer. So and finally, Retail Pro will tell you if your count matches this particular count, and if it doesn't, you always have the option to go back and recount again. There's a lot of security options here as well. You can always define, like I said, when you're defining float amounts up and down, so that maybe you want to go ahead and make sure everything is tracked properly when your counts are done. At the same time, if you want to track employees, maybe in order to protect yourself from any other things, you can always track, not have Retail Pro verify, and just do the amounts, and then you can check them later on and see if there's any discrepancies between the two, and have that hidden at the employee level. So whoever is doing the count may or may not know there's a discrepancy. Just real quick, I just saw here, there's a question here, am I going to take Q&A? Yes, there will be a Q&A at the end. I'm actually wrapping things up right now real quick. Before we do that real quick, I'll go ahead and kind of cut short. That's all I'm going to talk about with the X out. But like I said, Retail Pro tracks all these for you. Real quick before we move on to that, though, I want to quickly show you the reporting module. And again, this comes with Retail Pro out of the box. And these are all the reports Retail Pro comes in with you. We include over 150 built-in reports, which you can use to customize to whatever your specific needs are. For example, let's go ahead and do a quick sales summary. See what we sold today. Each report has a filter window, so you can allow you to fine-tune or personalize a report. For example, if you only want sales for today, you can do that, and for store number 1 only. And here's a quick sample report. We did no filter at all, so we're looking at all sales for all the items. And keep in mind all the data is presented to users in local currency. So if you're consolidating sales transaction data from all around the world with different currencies, Retail Pro will automatically convert all the prices to your local currency using established exchange rates. And again, these reports are all customizable. We use Crystal reports to customize these reports, so which is really wonderful. You have the power of the Crystal reporting module to define what you want to see on your reports. It's one of the beautiful things of having an Oracle database handling all your data. Once you've done the report, you can always export it to several different formats, either a Crystal report format or Excel or PDF if you want to mail a protected document to managers or something like that. This is just a really short demo of the reports module. We can certainly talk about a lot more and talk about all the different types of reports that are available. Summary reports if you want to summarize sales or run inventory summaries. Merchandise reports for merchandise on hand or sales or merchandise statistics. If you want to do lists for gift cards or customer address lists or employees, those reports are available. If you want to do sales journals or purchasing journals or receiving journals, those sorts of reports are also available too. We automatically have those with you. All right, so at this particular time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to any questions you might have. Again, if you want to ask a question by hand, just simply use the raise hand function in GoToMeeting, and I will unmute you. Or if you want to type in any of your questions, you can go ahead and type them in, and I will answer that. Lori here asked a question. What is the vendor style number? Oh, looks like there's several questions. Thanks, Lori. Vendor style number. There's I'm not sure I understand that question. Retail Pro doesn't really work with style numbers. We have a style definition, so styles are defined by department, vendor, and a description one, a customizable description. So, or either description 1, description 2, or you can use both of those to define your styles, and that can be set in Retail Pro. And then the individual items are then again defined beyond that. Let's see. Oh, question, yeah, for style numbers is where is it found? Again, not really sure. Oh, I see you've used your raised hand, Lori. So if you want, I'll go ahead and unmute you, and then you can go ahead and ask your questions audibly, and we can discuss. Hello, Lori. How do you do today?
Hi.
Hi. So,
How are you?
Oh, good. How are you? How are you doing?
The style number. Good.
Oh, okay. I think
On the style number,
yes.
can you put that actually in the description field?
I'm sorry to stumble on your question, Lori, but yeah, no, we don't. Like I said, we don't have a vendor style number, or oh no, maybe you're talking about I think I know what you're talking about now. Like if a vendor has their own particular number for a particular item. Is that something you're thinking of?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. For that, we Retail Pro tracks UPCs. Vendors probably have their own defined UPCs for the items, so they would be looked up by that. Alternately, if there's an alternate lookup, although an alternate lookup is usually used by the customer that's using the product as well. Usually those are internal for particular clients. But Retail Pro will identify items by both of those numbers. And you could actually look up items at point of sale by both UPC and ALU if you wanted to. So you could look up items, and not just point of sale, I'm sorry, actually on any documents, purchasing documents and stuff like that. So you could look up items using a vendor UPC or a client's ALU number. Let's see. You also asked when merchandise is transferred from one location to another, is it considered in transit until the store receives it, or does it update the locations on hand before it's received? You can define in transit time in Retail Pro, and you can go ahead and have that update. You can have that automatically updated during that particular time when the store receives it, or like I said, the store, if by default out of the box, like I showed in the demonstration, when you make a transfer, you make an outslip, and when you update that outslip, Retail Pro will automatically create the voucher. You can go ahead and set it to go ahead and have the receiving store go ahead and create their own vouchers. You can send advanced shipping notices for the store with shipping times as well that are defined. If you have default shipping times, those can be set in preferences as well. Where do you go to activate Screen Designer? Yeah, I only showed that a little bit cursory in the demonstration when I showed you the receipts module, but I access that just simply by right-clicking on the screen, and you can protect that from happening with Retail Pro security preferences. So that way you don't have your employees changing the receipt designs all the time, or the screen designs. I mean, excuse me. Let's see here. Also, where do you set user-defined fields? User-defined fields are set up in system preferences, so you can define the labels for those in there, either for customers and for items. Where do you set up multiple price levels and attach them to specific customers? Again, you do that in the customer modules. You can set up the price levels in the system preferences, which I didn't take time to show you real quick, but they're actually very in fact, actually, let me go ahead and show you really quick. I still have the module open, and if everyone's looking at the screen, This is the System Preferences module for Retail Pro, and it's here that you can set up preferences. Either we have them defined as global and local preferences. For global, meaning those sorts of preferences that apply to all stores. So those are where you define things like currency, how you define your company. If you're tracking regions for reporting purposes, you can define regions and assign those stores to specific regions, as well as your local preferences. So here's where you're setting up for customers the different UDF and aux fields for them. The same thing for merchandise. This is where you're setting up different UDF and fields for vendors. Uh, Same thing for point of sale. You're setting your different tenders if you have different tender requirements. It's usually I don't go into the preferences module because it's very intimidating. I think when you first see it, but once you start using it, I think generally people find that things are actually very well organized, and so it really ends up being very easy to find those particular things. So that's also where you set up multiple price levels and attach them. You would set up multiple price levels in system preferences, but you would attach them to customers in the customer module. Report for hot and cold sellers, so a customer can mark down. Yeah, again, those are where you see item statistics and things like that. So you can define them, and then using things like Autominmax to figure out how many of a particular quantity you actually need. Again, when I talked about Autominmax, items were being defined, having a daily point of sale of 2 based on sales. But then based on sales, if you look at a month, you might have a particular item, like you said, that's a cold seller. Autominmax might define that a little bit lower, and then those sort of values can be transferred over and seen in preferences later on. Did you have any other questions, Lori, or people are still typing them in? So I'm going to go ahead and mute you now, Lori, and move on to the next one. Chris O'Rourke asks how many categories and subcategories are allowed. Categories and subcategories. Again, I'm not quite sure what you mean offhand by categories. But if you're thinking about like departments, I think categories probably we're talking about departments. When you define a department, actually you can get very, 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 very specific there. Real quick, I can go ahead and show you. Again, I didn't show you everything in merchandise, but I think it's the departments where you're looking at right here. When you define a department, you can actually define a department, a class, and subclass for each particular item, and you can define up to 3 characters for each. So in particular case right here, the department is men's department. Class would be accessories, and then a subclass would be bags. So that's sort of what we're defining that department right there. But another example right below that would be men's shoes and boots. So you can really fine-tune your departments and categories down that way. And again, like so yeah, your question was how many categories and subcategories are allowed. Up to I guess 3 categories and subcategories down to a specific level, and but then you can also track an unlimited number of those. Natalie Wieland asks, oh, and thank you, Chris. I see you raised your hand to talk about, and I just saw you clear it. Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question then. Natalie Wieland asks, I said that RPro 9 uses Oracle. Does your software support SQL Server? Depending, we have Oracle built in. If you wanted to use a different SQL product, I'm not really sure about Retail Pro 9. Our new product that we're working on right now, and we have a couple of beta installations of Retail Pro Prism, is set up to allow you to use several different databases. I talk about a little bit about that in the Prism Prism webinar, which I'll be doing in a couple of weeks, and talks about the different one that you use. So yeah, with Retail Pro 9, Retail Pro 9 does use Oracle. It comes with the database. If you want to purchase your own Oracle database, you can also have Retail Pro 9 use that as well. But again, it'll be the new product that we're working on right now that's in development, Retail Pro Prism, which is extremely database free. You can allow it to attach if you already have your own databases and want to invest in something like SQL Server. You can definitely do that. Dean McConville asks, can we auto-calculate level discounts when creating an item? Not when you're doing the item creation. You can define them, but if you have them already set up, then you can use the tool I mentioned earlier, Price Manager. And when you create it, if you have those prices automatically defined and they're set up with default percentages, then yes, Retail Pro will automatically calculate those. So as soon as you enter an item, if you have percentages based off of what you have established off of a base price level, then yes, Retail Pro will automatically calculate that based on the discounts. Let's see, Robert Vinatucci. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, Robert. Let's see, are the feature sets for Retail Pro and Prism the same with respect to POS, pricing, reporting, and sales history? That's a little bit of a yes and no question, actually. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to be coy with you, but Retail Pro Prism is being sold as with a different structure. Retail Pro 9 is a full out of the box item. So all the things that I've shown you, plus all the features I haven't shown you, plus things like reporting, is all available to you. But Prism will be sort of an a la carte sort of product. So if you have your own ERP system, for example, handling all of your back office things, but you want Retail Pro for the point of sale, then you can do that with Retail Pro's Prism. There's going to be different modules you can purchase, like the POS module or a back office module and reporting module and things like that. Certainly, if you have all of the Prism modules, then yes, you'll have the same feature set. D. McConville asks, can we tell the system to automatically set a price margin? So a price margin based on if you have a price margin based on say like a vendor, I think is what you're actually asking a question about. Then yes, you can go ahead and define that. Again, I didn't show you the vendor modules, but in that particular case, we can look at a form view here, and you can define a trade discount for that particular vendor. Or if you want to go ahead and have Retail Pro suggest markups, then yes, Retail Pro can do that for you as well. Can we auto-retire, D. McConville also asks, can we auto-retire SKUs after a specific time period? You can for items. Yes. The answer is yes. You can set that up for items. If we go to merchandise inventory. And again, remember I was saying that you can go ahead and set up there's over 100 different fields. See, I think I'm trying to think if I have this on a default screen that I can show you. But here we have a discontinue date field, and what that'll do is when that date's hit, that will keep you from ordering items. So you can always set an item to be to unorderable. You can set up an orderable date for the items. You can check an item to be unorderable, just on the fly, or you can set a discontinued date so that you wouldn't be able to order those particular items anymore. So that's not quite auto-retire, but it will prevent you from listing those items. And then when you use the clean house module later on, you can take care of that. Can we set up a receive date on price tags? Gosh, that's something I'm not exactly sure about offhand. I mean, certainly if you're printing tags from I don't know offhand. We can go ahead and look at the design tool really quick. But certainly if you are printing tags from a voucher, looking for the tags really quick. Sorry, the screen is a little bit small, so those tabs are a little jumbled up. These are some basic tag designs here. Let's see, there's a start date field. You can add last edit date, or last received date. So here you go right here. Yeah, so here's the last received date, and what that'll do is when you're printing the tags, because you might be printing the tags from the inventory module, not necessarily from the voucher, you can have that last received date on there, or the last date on hand. There's a first received date, or end date. So yeah, there's definitely lots of dates available. Hopefully one of those meets your needs. And I see you've got your hand up, D. I am going to go ahead and check with you as well if you before leaving if you have any more questions that you want to ask. But I'm just going to move down the list if you don't mind. Chris O'Rourke has a few questions regarding common items that differ only by size or color. Can I set replenishment quantity based on each size? Well, each size is an individual item. So yes, you can definitely set particular quantities for those items. You can do it by style if you want, or you can do it by item. And also, say if you have a vendor who has minimum ordering requirements. So like let's say T-shirts, you're required to do a minimum order of a selection. Retail Pro will do that automatically as well. So when you do the order, it will go ahead and meet those vendor requirements. Can you report on a sales volume across all sizes, and then drill into sizes to determine which sizes are selling better? Yes, absolutely. Again, Retail Pro, all the sizes are individual items. So, you think not just sizes, but you're reporting on individual items. But then further on that, again, we have an Oracle database with Crystal reports, and that's one of the wonderful things about Crystal reports is that it's, if you're clever enough with it, then it's infinitely flexible. Can I do number 2 by various time periods and compare time periods? Yes, you can. We were looking at the statistics really quick. You can certainly filter by time periods and compare them both. If you want to have 2 different time periods, you can actually do that on the fly with that statistics module because it allows you to set 2 different time periods and compare them to. So you wouldn't even need to go to reports. You can go ahead and view that stuff on the screen for particular items. But then if you want to do multiple items, then it would just be simply a matter of having those type of statistics sent out from the reporting module, and then looking at those particular items when you run the filter. Let's see. Dean McConville asks, I was told we can run version 9 in a virtual server environment. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I was doing the demonstration in a virtual machine on my computer, so that's why it was Windows XP. So yeah, you can run version 9 in an environment like that in a virtual machine. Sure, that's not an issue. If you can also run version 9 if you have. We have a couple of different models of deployment. We certainly have customers who are using Virtual 9 with a server that's located remotely at a remote location and accessing it over the internet, based on desktop connection or something like that. But then we also have a lot of installs that are using Retail Pro with a local database. Will version 9 run on a Windows 7 64-bit computer? Yes. I'll give you the short answer on that one. Is there a data conversion involved in an upgrade? What do we need to do? This is D. McConville again, sorry. What do we need to do for our data before the conversion? We will do an upgrade after physical inventory and run cleanhouse DVS before upgrade. So it looks like you're talking about, since you're talking about cleanhouse and DVS, that you may be a Windows 8 user. There's a conversion process and upgrade because, yeah, we are converting from a flat file system that version 8 uses to the Oracle database that version 9 uses. And yes, there is a process for that, and your business partner should be able to help you with that. But yes, it is essential to make sure your data has been cleaned out as possible and standardized as much as possible using DVS. Could we show the security admin module? How has it changed in version 9? I'm not sure that it's changed very much, D. But if we go ahead and look at the employee management, then definitely, yeah, it's pretty much the same where you're defining groups and then defining permissions for those groups. So, roughly the same thing, all the different areas are available for you to define permission and override for. Lori asks what accounting solutions do we interface to, and how Retail Pro interfaces with customers with an existing website. Okay, so two questions. With accounting solutions, oh gosh, it's been a long time since I've even thought about accounting. Oh my goodness, I used to know this offhand, but I haven't even thought about it since then. But we do have an accounting link module that supports all the different accounting modules such as QuickBooks. Gosh, there were like 3 others in there. I'm sorry, I don't know offhand. But yeah, we do have an accounting link module which will interface Retail Pro, and you can use it also. The accounting link module, if you have your own, we have like some default accounting link settings built in for popular accounting packages, but you can always define your own. So if you have an accounting package that's not automatically built in, the accounting link module is a flexible module. It's not specifically QuickBooks. So and what that will go ahead and do is so you can export and import information based on how that accounting solution works. How does Retail Pro interface with a customer's existing website? Quite well. I'm sorry. The ECM module that we have for communicating with Retail Pro, and I didn't show that to you today. That's a totally different communications module, but that's what we use to communicate between items with retail. Between different Retail Pro systems. So if you have a main office system or with just stores to communicate with, Retail Pro has we have Enterprise Communications Manager for processing those transfers of data between 2 different installations. That particular data is set up so that it's actually an encrypted XML file. So it's really very, very easy to set up. And by easy, I don't mean it's definitely not something that anybody can do. But with a little bit of expertise, you can set up Retail Pro to access with those that particular web interface just by importing and exporting the XML files that are involved. How does the audit trail work? Can I briefly show this? An audit trail, like on items, if you're searching for item history. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Dee, and maybe you can clarify that question for me.
Hello.
Hello, Dee. How do you do?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, good.
Actually, the audit trail is what I'm referring to is auditing transactions in the system made by employees. We don't use that right now, and I know there was a reason why we didn't turn it on because it was interfering with what we're doing. So I'd just like to know how that works and what implications are by turning that on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no problem. Yeah, if we go to sales really quick, we'll go ahead and go to the sales and go to the receipt module. and I'm going to go ahead and look at form view for a receipt. And offhand, it looks like, yeah, I guess out of the box we don't have an employee number on here, but there are a lot of different security features for employees. So you can absolutely require Retail Pro to have an employee listed on there. We do have one particular setting. Maybe I can go quickly to System Preferences and find it really quick. Probably in receipts and in general. Let me try and think. No, that's not it.
Probably global.
Oh, here we go. Actually, no, for employees. We're looking at employees, and there's the security tab right here. One of the things that high security does is that will force employee logins on there. And in fact, what it will happen is on print update, it will require an employee login before starting a new document. So that'll enforce employee tracking for sales. And then you can track employees for particular items as well if you want to have different employees set up for different commissions and things like that. But let's see, is there something, as far as like ramifications go, I'm not sure there's really any ramifications, not as far as performance or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely important. I think if you have employees on the same register, it's definitely important to have something like that. And then to track employees per transaction.
I don't remember what it was, but
oh, okay.
Can you show also, like, is there like an audit report that you would get that would give you this information?
Oh, sure.
Like if you were looking. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to the reports module. In the Oracle database, you can report on anything. if we don't have it built in offhand, then yeah.
I figured that. I just wanted to see.
No problem. And I'm not sure exactly, out of all our reports, what we have offhand. Really quick, if you want to see something right here in the reporting module, we have, this is kind of cool right here, the permissions override report. So you can track how many times a manager has overridden permissions for a particular employee or something like that. So if a particular employee, say, has permission to do like a 10% discount, but that's been overridden by a manager or something like that, we've got a report built in for that. Same thing with the security audits. Yeah.
What's that security log show then?
For the permission override or this audit log?
Audit log, is that what we would want to look at? Like if we were looking for a specific, if we suspected or we saw that somebody had been changing a lot of things in the system, would you run it by the employee name, or how would you do that? Well,
for something like that, say for permission override, say you have a problem like with drawer opens, and so you would have set up a permission. You wouldn't have permit employees to do just an open drawer, but require a manager to do something like that. You could go ahead and set the permission to be overridable by a manager with that permission, and then do a report to see how many times a particular manager had overridden for drawer opens, or you could just report on the drawer opens as well. Because you can set up security receipts for things like that as well. So every time a drawer is opened, a security receipt is created. Every time a document is exited out of and not updated, a security receipt will be created for that. And then you can just report on security receipts.
Okay. And they were trying to help. That's good.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad.
While you have me on the speaker, can I ask you a little bit more about the virtualization?
Okay, go ahead.
You had said that you were running from a virtual desktop, but we do not use virtual desktops, but we connect to a central server with Retail Pro version 8.6, and we want to eliminate the server so that we can virtualize version 9 in our virtual server environment. So I was
Mm-hmm.
told we could do that. I probably need to talk to somebody that's pretty technical on it, but I just want to know if you know of other customers who are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you definitely have to have a system running or housing the database somewhere.
Right.
So,
Well, that's our central
yeah.
server. We use a central server for that now, but it's a physical server. And we want to not have to purchase a new server. We want to just virtualize our Pro 9 and run on our virtual server environment. So,
Yeah, well, that would depend on the hardware, really. I mean, because you still
okay.
have to have the hardware, the processing power and memory to drive the Oracle database.
Right,
So,
right. And we don't have to buy our own license for Oracle, correct?
no, you don't. No, you don't.
Good.
That was actually what this happened about, I don't know how many years ago, probably about 10 to 12 years ago. Oracle appended their licensing, which allowed us to very inexpensively include Oracle in Oracle in a product. So it's a locked Oracle database. You won't have access to the database offhand. You'll be able to access it using things like Retail Pro or Crystal Reports. Um,
Right, right.
but that's what allows us to make Oracle so affordable. Certainly, any customer is welcome to purchase their own database, Oracle database, and Retail Pro will interface with that database for sure. But
Yeah, we don't
usually,
need that.
for a lot of people, that's pretty cost prohibitive unless you're a pretty large operation. Uh, really, it was the change. Yeah, it was the change of the licensing scheme, which made something like including Oracle in a product like this possible.
Right, absolutely.
Hmm.
I had a couple more questions. Should you want to read them, or should I just ask them now?
I'll go ahead and read down them because other people have questions as well, and this will kind of get through other people's as well, and then we'll
Thank
get
you. I
to.
don't know how
Is that okay?
That's
Thanks a lot, Dee. I'm
absolutely.
going to go ahead and mute you again, but if you want, go ahead and raise hand again, and I'll take you off and we can chat.
Okay.
Chris O'Rourke asks, can I identify an in-stock inventory item longer than a particular time period? Let's see, let me think. Longer than a particular time period. Uh, which Chris actually had to leave. So thank you very much, Chris. I see there's a note from you, and you also appended up there for categories equaling departments. So I got that for you. Yeah, thank you very much for your kind words. I'm glad you enjoyed the demo. Uh, yeah, definitely. If you have any questions though, and you're still listening, you're certainly welcome to email me at any time. If you wrote my email down from the beginning, but I can go quickly back to that particular screen. Uh, Well, there's my email right there. And anybody else who has any questions, you're welcome to email later on if I'm not able to answer them for you today. Uh, let's see. Lori asks, how is the product hierarchy set up? Product hierarchy is set up usually. Any particular item is defined by a department, a vendor, a description, and then a size and attribute. And that's what we use in Retail Pro to, that's kind of like the theory for defining a particular item. So if you're looking at a particular department, you can see, for example, men's shoes, boots, the vendor, specific vendor. For example, Cole Haan. I'm not sure if Cole Haan makes boots. They certainly make nice men's shoes. But a vendor would then be Cole Haan. A description would be a particular description, usually defined by that vendor. So whatever they identify a particular model, maybe a tasseled loafer, and then the size and attribute. So either the size 8.5, and the attribute would be Cordovan, the type of leather being used. Usually that's what Retail Pro defines a particular item. For style definition, then beyond that, it's just department, vendor, and description, and then all of the sizes and attributes for that particular style is on there. Lori also asks, can you set up a multi-buy? Buy one for $5, buy two for $8, buy three. Buy multi-buy, I believe, it sounds to me like you're talking about quantity discounts. Yeah, we have, there's a couple of different methods at Retail Pro for setting up quantity discounts, for sure. There's a method set up by using price levels, which is actually an older method. Is what it's sort of a holdover from previous versions of Retail Pro, and we still have customers and clients who using Retail Pro want to continue using it the same way as they had before. So we try and include as many feature sets, but we do have another quantity discounts for setting up like that. So yeah, it's no problem, and it's actually a much more robust module because you can define particular items. So for example, if you have a particular style of Levi's dress pants, and you can purchase uh, you know, any from that particular style, you can certainly do that. So you could get 3 different colors of dress pants uh, in that same style and still get that quantity discount. So they're $20 each, or 2 for 30 and 3. And definitely where you're talking about 1, 2, and 3, you can definitely set them up staggered and tiered like that. Oh, Gary asked real quick what the specs are on the computer that I'm running this V9 demo at. I don't know if anybody else is also interested in that. I'm not actually sure offhand. It's running a virtual machine on the computer, but let's see, system properties. It was a 2.6 gigahertz CPU with 8 gigabytes of installed RAM, running a 64-bit operating system. Now that wasn't the operating system I'm using on the virtual machine, but this is the system that I was using to drive that machine. So if anybody was curious, I'll offhand. Like I said, I don't think Gary's with us anymore, but there's that information right there. D's next question. Do we have to recreate all of our document designs like tags, receipts, HTTPS when we do the conversion? From 8 to 9, no, it still uses the same XML. So you can easily re-import your document designs over and have them available. Yeah, that's a short answer one right there. No. Does RPro use registries? Yes, RPro does absolutely use registries. We have there's a couple of different registry types actually that are accessible. And they're accessible as sales orders. So if we look at sales orders, I didn't look at the sales orders when we were doing the demo. But for different sales orders, we have, and you can define more SO types if you want for individual tracking, but you can easily set up a customer order for if you're doing a customer order, and that's for something that usually you carry but just don't have in stock at the time. You can also quickly run a special order for items that you don't normally carry, but a customer particularly wants. And then if you want to do a layaway, Retail Pro will handle a layaway sales orders. And then we can do store and company registries for people. So that's pretty generic, but if you have to do a store registry just for particular stores, or handle a company registry if you are doing if you have several different stores and you want to have those registries available at all those stores. D. McConville asks, do you offer Crystal Reports training just for Retail Pro or a refresher course? We do have a training module set up for Crystal Reports, but it's more just for using Crystal to customize reports. And actually, that's what we usually recommend because we have so many reports already. Even if we don't have a report that specifically meets your need, 99% of the time there's a report that's close. and all that's required is a little bit of tweaking. So even if that's generally what our training is focused around, not creating reports from scratch or even really getting deep into the nitty-gritty of defining new SQL statements to drill down to the information you need. Because like I said, 99% of the time there's something that's really, really close. So that's why our training is really focused on, is defining or redefining and editing existing reports to make them get the information that you specifically want. Uh, okay, yeah, I see D. Your next question. Yeah, we don't have virtual desktops, but want to virtualize the server where Retail Pro is installed and running, which we chatted about. If you want to chat about that more, I can go ahead and do raise hand, which you just did, and and we can talk about it more. Before that, I have one more question, again from Lori. Can you set up packages and kits? Yes, we do have packages and kits in Retail Pro. If you want to set up packages, uh, the two differentiate a little bit slightly differently from each other. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and set up packages, so you have taking a group of items and making a new individual item. So say you have, if you work with, say for example, like bath products, and so you want to take an existing, like a sponge and a shampoo and a soap, and make little packages out of those. You certainly can, and there's a tool in there. Definitely, it'll take all those items out of inventory, and then create a new inventory item based on that new pre-packaged item that you've created. On the other hand, if you want to do something like, say you have the same, a bunch of sponges, and you have a bunch of shampoos, and you have a bunch of soaps, and you sell all those soaps individually, all those items individually, but you then want to have it set up so a customer picks a sponge and picks a shampoo and picks a soap and buys all three of them together, and then you can buy those three items say at a discount price. Maybe they're all $8 a piece, but then you want to sell, you can have a little kit that they put together and sell those for the three of them go together for $20. And you want them to pick any from the different colors and stuff like that. You can definitely set up. Like I said, that sort of functionality in Retail Pro. It's just called packages and kits, and there's a little bit there's a difference between the two, but that'll set you up. Real quick, Dee, before I go ahead and take you off mute, you asked another question. Can we do layaways, and can we track payments for layaways? Absolutely, you can do layaways. It's the same way as sort of as registries when you choose your SO type. You can do a layaway. You definitely take a deposit at time of layaway. If you have a minimum deposit that's required, you can set up that requirement in Retail Pro to automatically suggest it and take it at the time the layaway is created. And then you can also go ahead and like I said, track payments for those layaways as well. And then what happens is that deposit and those payments are tracked as receipts. So you have a trail of those transactions taking places. But then those receipts are linked to the sales order, so that it'll always show up between the two, and the reference to sales order will also show up on those particular customers' receipts. And really, customer orders and special orders work the same way. So, for example, if you do a customer order, when they come in for time of pickup, a receipt's generated referencing that sales order, and then you can also always just pull the sales order items over. Okay, so I asked you if you wanted to talk a little bit more about the virtualization. I'm going to go ahead and take you off mute now, Dee, and then we can talk a little bit more. Okay, so you're all set now.
Actually, I think you answered what I needed to know about that, but Mary Ann from the store has another question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, when I am creating items, and we have different discount levels for members and for employees and a couple of other levels.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I have to manually enter what the discount is. Okay, I have to calculate what the 20% is, what the 10% is. Will the new system, can it be set to automatically, when I'm creating the item, put in the discounted price levels in those categories?
If you have default discount percentages set up, it will. But for the price levels, you just need to run Price Manager. So if you have, okay, say, I'm going to go ahead and go into merchandise inventory here, and then we have a Price Manager tool that will allow you to simply adjust those prices. So say if you're going to, if you have a basic retail price level and you want to adjust the price from that price level, you can always set it up by adding, and we're going to add an amount. Actually, we're going to add a percentage. So that percentage amount is going to, yeah, you can set up for 25%, and then that adjusts it automatically right there. But then you can always define a specific price level that you're going to adjust it to, and that'll be the target price level.
Right. So what I would have to do is add the items into inventory and then run the price manager
Yeah,
for the items.
Yeah, if you're using price levels that way, so say if you have a price level, you have a basic retail price level that's, say, $10, and then you have a VIP price level that's a discount price level maybe for VIP customers that's like 25% off, then yeah, you can use Price Manager to auto-populate those price levels with whatever it is that you define them as. But yeah, it won't do it automatically unless you set up using it only happens automatically using a different system we have called default. Now, I was going to say you can have it update automatically by running Price Manager, but when I say automatically, I mean like on the fly, like you said, when you create the item.
Right.
Trying to remember offhand where default. Oh yeah, okay. So you can set default discount percentages for those price levels, and when you set those default percentages here in system preferences, then those will update automatically when you create a new item.
Okay. Okay. So that's what I need.
What's that under? Oh, price.
Okay.
Oh, local preferences, merchandise, pricing, and general.
Okay, great.
So it's the same place that you go to define the price levels.
Okay, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, and that's the last of the questions on the list. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to dump it in at this time if you want to update the list or use the raise hand function. I'm going to go ahead and wait a moment here in case anybody has anything else they'd like to ask. Okay, which doesn't look like it. So anyway, I hope everybody's had a good morning. I hope I've answered many of your questions, and I hope sparked a lot of your interest in Retail Pro. I know some of you are existing users, but some of you may have been new as well. And I appreciate the time you spent listening with me. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And it's Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday, so I hope you all have a wonderful weekend as well. Thank you so much.